The Diansheng Solar S5 is Diansheng's higher-end Fiber 5, not to be confused with the budget one that came out earlier, and unlike most modern Fiber 5s which feature a wide outer layer, the Diansheng Fiber 5 is totally proportional. Every one of its layers measures 12.2mm, regardless of whether it's an outer layer or an inner layer. The cube is completely black inside, with coloured caps on the outside. I do not know if other colour options are available, but I would certainly love one with primary internals. The Solar S5 has an extremely soft and silky feel. It is also both a very stable and fluid puzzle. The cube does not spontaneously deform out of cube shape when I'm turning fast, even though I can force it to deform, but it's not that easy either. And there's also still a degree of softness to the turning, giving nice transitioning between turns. Speed-wise, this is a medium to slightly fast 5x5. It turns with little effort and stays perfectly controllable. The cube can cut up to a full piece, which is pretty standard, while reverse corner cutting is somewhere close to 1/3 of a piece, which is really similar to the Dayan Nezha. The Solar S5 is king when it comes to prevention of pops and deforming lockups. You can try really hard to make a piece come out of alignments, but the cube just won't let you do it. And looking at the gaps between the pieces, you can actually tell that the same anti-deforming mechanism that the Diansheng WR and Diansheng GTS has is also present on the Diansheng Solar S5. At face level, you can see a lot of similarities between Solar S5 and the Diansheng. The anti-deforming mech basically consists of the second layer poking into the third layer space, and this makes it more difficult for all these small pieces here to pop out. Additionally, the center cap is held down by this torpedo-like mechanism, making it quite hard to remove, which is a contrast from the traditional design, which is just two tight-fitting squares held in by friction. Deeper into the mechanism, however, the mechanism of the Solar S5 is way more interesting than just a direct copy of a mechanism that already exists. You can actually see a bare screw inside the core, whereas you can't really see it here on the Diansheng WR. But unlike the Nezha where the screw is also visible, here the Diansheng Solar S5 actually takes it a step further. The bases of this very big midge piece extends all the way until it touches the screw. The middle layer here is actually really thin at the base because this part is just the thickness of the screw itself. Add on the second layer, and this is standard Diansheng WRM and Diansheng GTS stuff, where the second layer is this poking part that goes into the third layer. This is the anti-deforming mech. And then here, this is the extra thing that the Diansheng Solar S5 adds. The corner base is very big. It expands and takes up the territory that has been removed by shrinking this internal part here to be as thin as the screw. So the corner base can actually afford to be much bigger than many other brands' Fiber 5s. So here is the corner base comparison between the Solar S5 and the Diansheng WRM. And here you can also compare it with a Valk. The magnets of the Solar S5 are not very well glued in. When I first got the puzzle, there were multiple magnets rattling in place and just totally dislodged. I had to take pieces apart and glue the magnets back. I might just have been unlucky enough to get a defective cube, but this reflects badly on Diansheng's quality control. The main negative for this puzzle, however, is the proportional outer layers combined with the subpar reverse corner cutting. I threw in a bunch of challenging elks for the Solar S5 as well as a bunch of other Fiber 5s, and the Solar S5 is significantly lockier and harder to grip. Wide outer layers have been a phenomenal design feature that has been around since 2015. It is now a staple for most 5x5s and 6x6s. Cubes bigger than 6x6 even go beyond the minimum possible size, clearly aiming for bigger inner to outer layer ratios than the older models. Why Diansheng made this 5x5 proportional, I have no idea. Why I made this 7x7 proportional, it's not a speed cube, it's to prove a point and experiment with new ideas. So is that what Diansheng was going for with the 5x5? They certainly experimented with new features inside their mechanism, but they are clearly speed cube enhancing features and they don't seem to rely on proportional layers. For purposes of reliably competing against other top tier 5x5s such as the Ultron WR, MGC, Dog 5 and more recently the Nezha, this puzzle doesn't really make the cut. I don't think it's meant to be a full flagship, nor is it trying to be a full budget cube. It seems to be more of a mid-tier product and for that tier it definitely gets the job done. This puzzle also nails the appearance, the feel, the weight, the speed and many other aspects I would expect to see from a Gun 561, or at least it has the premiumness. The performance of the cube itself is also not too bad. It's still a decent puzzle that I'll recommend if you're interested to check out its features, and it does have quite a bunch of interesting features.